smells delicious in here. Is that you guys, or is that our candle selection? Is that Robb Roy that's bringing all the sweet smell?
Bring the sweet smell, man, to the studio.
Everybody got their devices turned off, muted.
Yeah.
Can't have that shit coming. All right. Welcome. Three of the founding members of Robb Roy. Detroit rock heroes, Robb Roy. John Cottos.
Yes.
Graham
Strachan.
Strachan, get right up on that mic, buddy.
Strachan.
Don't be scared. Okay.
Yep.
And Duane, I don't even know your name, so I can't even attempt it, man.
Call me Duane.
Just call you Duane. All right, man. We got to get your headphones on, Duane.
Yes.
Let's make sure you can hear us. Can you hear anything? How's everybody's headphones doing?
Sounds great.
Yeah?
How
about you, Duane?
They don't fit.
Love it.
They don't fit?
They don't fit.
Oh, you got to stretch one out. There you go.
They gave me kid headphones. I'm good. I'm messing with you.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't be afraid to get right on that mic, too. Can you hear yourself in the headphones? Can you hear everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Does
Wow.
it? Does it sound good?
Yeah.
I'm worried because we're not hearing Duane. Check your mic, Duane. I'm sorry to do this on the air, but...
My name is... Check.
There it is.
There you go.
There you are, man. Cool. So, welcome to the Timkast. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's really good to have you here. How's that coming over there on the iPad, John? Are you finding the stream?
I'm subscribed.
You're subscribed?
Yeah, but I don't know what's going on. So.
Yeah. Well, it's a tricky thing because when we have guests on, they want to let their people know that we're live, because we do this live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
And so people are sitting here and we're doing the interview, but they also want to let their people know that we're live. So I figure since John is a technical genius, that he could handle.
Totally.
He could handle being interviewed and
I'm looking at
posting.
your picture right now, Tim.
Yeah?
Yeah, it looks good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We used to have people for that, but...
I know. Times change.
So,
Thanks for bringing the drinks, you guys, man. That was awesome.
yeah.
You brought some nice
Are you
wine and some scotch and some Grey Goose. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
How's it working, buddy?
Anyways. I don't know if we could just hand this off to someone else so we can continue on.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If anybody subscribed to the Timkast, they'll definitely get alerted, you know? And the beautiful thing is the reason it's so cool that we use YouTube to do the live thing is that as soon as we press stop on the recording, it's archived. It's there for all time for people to watch.
Yeah.
So literally, if people aren't watching it live, as soon as we're done, they'll be able to see the link on Facebook and they'll be able to watch it for eternity.
Right.
So it'll all be there.
It'll all be there?
So it's all good. Yeah.
Well, we forewarned everyone and told them that we're going to be on today, so we just hope
you did
that our
everything you could.
Yeah.
You did everything you could.
Yep.
So you guys are here to talk about the new project, new album that you just recently completed.
Yes.
It's called Well, There You Have It.
Correct.
And it's so Robb Roy, right? Yeah, he has it right there in his hand.
Yep.
Good looking package, man. Good stuff. Robb Roy, the heyday of Robb Roy, right?
Yeah.
Was late 90s, right? To early 2000s. Am I correct on that?
That'd
I
be
would say
correct.
so, yeah.
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 So where we all first met was, do you know where we first met? Where you and I first met?
I'm trying to piece it together.
Harmony Park. Harmony Park
was it Harmony
Studios.
Park?
Yeah. Because I had just done my first retirement from music. Downers Grove had fell apart, and I had transitioned into radio. I went to Specs Howard.
That's right.
And I quickly got. I was lucky enough to get a job with Greater Media with 105.1 The Edge.
I remember that.
And we were doing Edge sessions at Harmony Park while you guys were working on. I forget the name of the record.
Heroes and Cocktails.
Heroes and Cocktails.
Right.
Yeah. So we were always crossing paths. You guys were in there working with the brothers.
Pastorius.
Yes. Yeah. Brian a lot specifically, right?
Yep.
And I'd see you guys, either you guys would be wrapping something up and we'd be coming in to take over for the Edge session, or, you guys would be leaving or whatever. So that's actually where I first met you guys. And then I think I knew you at that point from the clubs, because Downers Grove and Robb Roy, I think, had crossed paths at venues, maybe the Ritz or, Studio Lounge or something like that. I mean, you guys were playing out when I was still in Downers Grove, I think.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think at that point, that's when we were signed with Previn.
Previn?
So, yeah, so we were kind of like, I guess we were trying to launch an international type of deal, right?
That was Chaos.
That was with Chaos, right. So
okay.
Chaos Records, and
now Chaos, Sue Chaos or Sony Chaos?
no, Chaos is like indie, as indies.
Wasn't that Sue's label from Alvin's? What was her name? Sue?
No, this was Previn Mysteries.
Previn.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Previn
Do you remember
Mystery.
Previn?
Oh, of course, yeah. Because
How can you-
the bridge.
how
could-
can you-
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Previn. Now,
Come on,
wouldn't
you
he-
remember-
he would be
you
a good
remember
podcast
Previn.
guest. Why haven't I thought of that?
Yeah.
I wonder if
You
Previn
think
would come
so?
on. Yeah, I don't know. He knows a lot of stuff, man.
he
got
does
some-
know a lot
he's
of
got some
stuff.
darks,
It just has that
some operations.
that low voice that, huh? What did you say?
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
Yeah, that's true. We'd have to pull it out of him.
you would have to have
Yeah.
subtitles. Yeah.
He's got a pretty crazy bank of knowledge, man. I have to put a tab on
Yeah,
that.
he was the one that what did he do? And I don't want to focus a lot on this, but he was like always diamond coating stuff. So he's like
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
diamond coating surgical instruments, and then it was like diamond coating a snare.
I know,
and it was
drums.
Like, yeah, then you're
Just
like,
go get me a
right,
just let me
drum
diamond coat
set.
anything, you know. And
Yeah,
he would do
Dave
it.
still has these limited edition Shure microphones that were diamond cut.
coated.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, or whatever it was. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy. So, but his pet thing was he loved music, and so
Yeah.
he
You know the
was
Previn
always-
story that I always heard, since we're talking about this, and maybe we'll have him on the show to verify this. And I don't think I'm talking out of school. I was told that he is the dude who invented the dimpling of the modern soda and beer pop can. So, in other words, you remember when we were growing up, the
Right.
fucking cans, the top and the bottom of the cans are like soup cans that we see right now. They were just
Right.
flat,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
A can of beer, a
Yeah.
can of pop
Exactly,
was
right,
flat,
right,
right?
right.
And you pulled the tab off. I heard that he invented the fucking process that recessed the top and the bottom.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Really?
No.
Well, he never told us that. But,
No.
We'll have that motherfucker on the show.
We'll
figure
just
it
have
out
to do a
because we
whole
don't.
thing.
Yeah, we don't have to guess about any of
I
this stuff.
invented.
I can
yeah.
have him on the show.
Can you? Well, maybe we'll put like a instead of the 10 bands on Facebook, like put the 10 things and one of them is fake.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
guess which one? Guess which one he didn't invent?
The Post-it note,
Exactly.
liquid paper.
Yeah, liquid paper. There you go.
So we'll have to figure that out if that's true or not. We can
Right.
ask Dave. But yeah,
Right.
but he'd be an interesting guy to have on the podcast. All right, Previn, if you're listening, shout out to you, buddy. Yeah,
Exactly.
miss you. It's been a
God
long time.
bless you, man.
Maybe
Yep.
you should be a podcast
Miss you,
guest.
man.
We'll figure this
Yeah.
out. So you were. See, I never knew that you guys were working with him and his label. That adds another little layer to this.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I
Yeah.
mean, he was passionate about bands. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe never had anything that sort of got into the stratosphere, but he sure as hell tried. Right?
Yeah. I mean, he was doing anything that he could. And the poor guy. I felt sorry for him at some point because there were some, there were some bloodsuckers out there too that were really just kind of using him. And you just knew it. But how do you approach that and tell the guy, look, hey man,
This one's a bloodsucker. This one, like,
yeah, and then does he look at you as like, oh, you're just saying that because
You want more of my
you want more
attention.
money, or you want
Okay.
more, or but it wasn't. I mean, I think we were like the most besides what had happened between Bridge, and I think they were the first ones that were signed up with him. I think we were the most well packaged group in that. Stable of people that he had signed. I mean, we did a lot of the work on our own, and so we presented ourselves that way, and it was always the way that we presented ourselves. We never were like, oh yeah, we need this or we need that. No, we could do this as long as you can kind of give us this. We can get to this point. If you could just help back us on this.
You weren't completely helpless. You just needed that little extra, that little overdrive, that little boost. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we were like the most responsible rock band that I've ever played in. I mean, it was crazy. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. Just coming, it was business, and then, but you knew that okay, if we want to get to this next level, we had to be just as good as what's out there right now, and we pushed ourselves.
Yeah.
We did.
And it's funny because I recently had on the lead singer from the Chainsaw Kittens. He was on with Jarrett Coral from Jet Plastic Records. What's his name? Now it's gonna. Shit. the lead singer from the Chainsaw Kittens, Tyson Mead.
Okay.
Tyson Mead.
Tyson Mead.
Awesome guy. Crazy, fun, ultra artistic, like another planet type of guy, you know. And the Chainsaw Kittens were one of those bands that like just made it up into the upper atmosphere. Like they never got into orbit, but they were right there. They had all the right meetings. They knew all the right people. They took all the right pills. You know,
Right.
that type of thing, you know. And we had an awesome conversation about, you know, like the near misses, all the bands that were just near misses. And I feel like, I don't know if Detroit's full of, I don't want to say full of near misses, but we certainly had our share of near misses.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And I was always fascinated by, I've talked a lot about this, how in Detroit, we, like you're saying, we knew how to get close. Like we knew how to, you know, as superficial as looking right, you know, acting right and writing, you know, we had all these things. And I've been all over this country and seen all levels of bands, you know, from garage to the big stages. And I swear to you that there's more consistent quality, especially in our time as we grew up in Detroit, than any other city in the country. I
think
swear
so,
it.
too.
I swear it. And I don't know if it's because every one of our uncles was in a band with Ted Nugent or played in a garage, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Or if it was because Motown happened right in our backyard. Like there's some where we had this, the bar was pretty set for us. You know, we couldn't fuck off too much. Like it was like, okay, you want to be a musician? Well, here's how you do it, you know?
Right.
And
I think part of it too is our, you know, I think just our work ethic here.
Work
you know?
ethic,
We had,
100%.
I mean, we were just, you know, sons and grandsons of the automotives, you know, and it was always, you know, you woke up, you went to work, and you busted your ass, and you came home and you brought home the bacon and did the best you could.
Yeah.
And I always had that from my dad. You know, it's always the same thing. It's like, you know, you go out there and you work hard.
And we're so lucky to have had that ethic in our music scene. It was like, we haven't made it. Well, we didn't cry. It was like, well, what haven't we done? The good bands.
Right.
The good bands were capable of saying, okay, well, what haven't we done?
Right.
Right.
What you know, do we get the right jeans? Do we get the right sport coat in the shot? Like the right photographer? Like we were strong enough to say, look inward and go, what are we doing? What, you know, why is this happening?
Exactly.
And my point is that Robb Roy was one of those bands where everything was hitting. You guys were hitting on all cylinders, you know.
Right.
Great songs, great production, you know. How did you guys get tied up with the Pastoria brothers? Anyway, like how did that come about?
Well, Grandpa.
Yeah, I'd known Brian and Mark for years, back when they were in Adrenaline.
Okay.
And I was in, my first band out of high school was The Lords, Lordz.
Okay.
And we had a small indie record label that we were on.
Okay.
You know, toured around the country a little bit, went to New York and played the Ritz there, played CBGB's once and stuff like that. It was a long time ago. And so I ended up meeting the Pastorias because as I transitioned from the Lords into what would have been the very first Robb Roy, we got to open for those guys a little bit between that Lords and Robb Roy thing.
Open for Adrenaline or open for DC
open
Drive?
For like Adrenaline.
Okay.
Yeah, DC Drive came a little bit later. I mean, we were kind of contemporaries at the with DC Drive. They happened a little later. I think there was a period where DC Drive was the backing band for Mark Farner for a little while before they did the DC Drive thing.
Okay.
So I kind of knew him.
Way back here.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of knew him from that. I was doing some solo work myself there with Mark Pastoria, who
at Harmony Park.
Did all the engineering. I had been doing some songwriting with Liz Laren and some other people. Ben Edmonds, I don't know if you remember Ben, was a writer for Cream Magazine for years. He also
the name sounds familiar. Yeah.
Dabbled in record label stuff. Him and a partner of his from L.A. had approached me about possibly doing something on my own. So again, that was all through the Pastorias and Harmony Park and what was going on there.
So you had a pretty good relationship with those guys.
Yeah,
then. Okay.
yeah, great guys.
Oh, for years, yeah.
When they did their reunion shows, much later, after they were done with DC Drive and done with Adrenaline, they asked me if I'd do the lead vocals. So I had to learn all the repertoire between the two bands. And I'm not kidding you, it was one of the most enjoyable sets I've ever had to perform. Their crowd, I mean, the Royal Oak Music Theater they had to shut the doors, it was packed.
Awesome.
And their fans just loved them.
Yeah.
And Alto Reed showed up, we did a version of Turn the Page.
Cool.
As good as Jimmy is on sax, you understand why Alto's, world famous.
Yeah.
Right.
Levels.
The two of them,
there's levels.
Yeah,
to
there's
that
levels.
shit.
And Alto, he's got something going on. So we did that song. Chris McCall, another singer here in town, her and I did a duet. It was a slightly different version. It was just off the hook. It was
Awesome.
so much fun.
At you said it was at Royal Oak Music Theater?
Yeah,
Is that-
Royal Oak Music Theater.
Yeah, that's a great room, God, especially
Yeah.
when it's packed to the gills.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's interesting to know your story because I'll be honest with you, man. I always got a seasoned vibe from you. So I was a little younger, sort of, I was still making my way a little bit. And I always thought that, this guy, this Robb Roy singer, like, you seemed traveled even back then, if that's.
Yeah. It's funny you're talking about the professionalism that we
Yeah.
got. I think Motown, it was like the blueprint.
Graham's like, yeah, you're right.
No, you're absolutely right. Because I know how I was treated as
Fuck yeah.
coming out of high school.
Yeah.
I mean, it was drilled into me. One of the early things with the Lords, the people that managed us rented dance studios. We had to practice our sets in front of mirrors
Yeah.
to learn how to project to people at the back of the room and crazy
awesome.
stuff. Crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, stuff
well,
that
it
you
was-
wouldn't tell people you did,
But that was the levels back then,
Yeah.
man. That was
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing, man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what would happen if we took a fucking group of 22-year-olds right now and said, check this out. Sounds great, but we need you to do this all in front of a wall of mirrors.
Yeah.
Like, what
Right.
would they say? They would probably look at you like you're from Mars.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
They'd They'd be like, we could just stream it and watch it.
Exactly.
We don't have to
yeah.
do mirrors. We could just
Just
stream it.
stream it on our phones. Yeah.
You're so dumb, old guy. How are you saying that?
Exactly.
So, the material on, well, there you have it.
Yeah.
We were at a party over at Dave's house. And
Dave Cave Coughlin,
Dave Coughlin.
our
yeah.
mutual friend.
Our mutual brother.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yes, he is a brother.
And we got to talking, and you were saying, "Hey, we're wrapping this thing up. This album's done." And you were talking about how do we? It's apropos what we were talking about 22-year-olds, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's where this is where our age shows. It's like
Yeah.
we've been out of the scene, for how many years now as a band? Has it been 17 years now? Or
No. 2004 was the last.
Oh, 13 years. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, see, that's my mind. That's my mind going. I'm aging. I'm going too fast on the age thing. But anyway, so you take
A long time, a lifetime in the industry.
So
right?
2003, 4,
Yep.
and then now 2017. What do you do as a band now to promote?
Yeah, and see, that's why I love you, man. One of the many reasons is because you were just like, "What do I do? What do we do?"
Yeah, because we
And
had,
that's awesome.
you got your staff of, the street team, and you got this, and
Right.
and you go, do you need that anymore?
Yeah. Do we put flyers on the cars at the studio lounge?
Yeah.
Right. What's every?
yeah.
I got to get an email of somebody. and I
Yeah,
gotta
no.
send- I gotta-
No, Rock of Ages. Got to
There
put
you
a
go,
flyer
Rock
up at
of
Rock of
Ages,
Ages.
right,
That'll do it.
yeah.
Put a Rock of Ages and then
Exactly.
flyer the token parking lot, flyer the studio lounge. Yeah, just the usual, John. What's wrong with you? No, but-
Right.
yeah, no, it was an awesome question. I was so happy that you asked me that. And what I tell people, I was lucky to transition, right? So I went out of Downers Grove, got
Right.
into radio, and then I was blessed enough to get the Sponge gig.
Right.
Then I'll tell you something else that happened to me that was very lucky.
That was accelerated by
Accelerated learning, yeah.
right.
Advanced placement, they would call that in
Oh,
high school,
man,
I guess.
yeah.
And then what I was really lucky for and very grateful for is in 2007, I got a gig as tour manager for Hawthorne Heights.
Okay.
And that has proven to be just priceless. I really need to thank those guys. I wasn't the greatest tour manager for them. I was going through my addiction problems at the time.
No.
So they didn't really get the best of me, but I learned a lot from them because I was instantly exposed to that whole Warped Tour, indie, DIY. Like I got a master class in that from them because the Hawthorne Heights was on the, the emo label out of Chicago. I forget the name of it, but they were a big deal in emo rock.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to witness them, and they had just lost their big record deal, and they were kind of out still trying to make a way, being on a lesser known label, and they had got new management. And I was really lucky to see that whole scene, man, all those bands. I was literally on the tour bus with Hawthorne Heights when I learned about Facebook.
Okay, so that was the beginning of the do it on your own.
Yeah.
Prove it to us that you can do it on your own. And
Well,
then
no,
maybe
it was no longer prove it. It was this is all there is.
This is your criteria.
We, in fact, actually, you could make a case that we came up in the do it, prove it, and then we'll take it from here. That was our rise.
Now
it's gone. There's no do it, prove it, and we'll take over. It's do it
and go and leave us
Good
alone.
luck. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because there's nothing. There's nothing more. There's no more powerful distribution than I always say, take it to the top. What's the Olympics of what we're talking about? The Olympics of what we're talking about now is fucking America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
American Idol. That's the Olympics of what we're talking about. So if that's the Olympics of the distribution level of the current industry, what are we going to do? You know?
Right.
So I was on the tour bus, and these cats were talking about Facebook. And you and I, we're still learning MySpace at that time.
What year was
that
that?
time.
2007.
Wow.
Yeah. So 2007, and I believe if you go back through it,
Right.
2007, when I was out with these Hawthorne Heights guys, he was still rolling this out on campuses. If you go back by the movie and you follow the timeline.
Okay.
So, what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg was still in that rolling out to campuses phase.
Okay.
And it had just been written up in Rolling Stone.
2007. Now, that sounds about right, because I remember hearing about that back then, like 2006, 2007. You join Facebook. Well, I'm on MySpace.
Right.
What do I need to go on Facebook for?
What is Facebook? That's for college kids or something. Not in college.
Right, yeah.
And it had gotten written up in Rolling Stone, and Rolling Stone, of course, was doing like the bleeding edge of social media. They were starting to see what's coming. That'd be a great article to find, by the way, because you could look at all the shit that fell by the wayside.
Okay.
Because it was like the 10 things that are going to kill MySpace. That's what the little write-up was.
Okay.
And Facebook was one of them. It'd be interesting to find that article.
Okay.
So, dude, what a blessing to be with these DIY guys at the top of their game, Hawthorne Heights, out there. They're going on the Warped Tour and playing to all these young kids. I'm learning about Facebook, learning about social media. So I was very lucky to do that. And then I came home and went back on the road with Sponge. And once I left Sponge, when I got divorced and sort of was really out of the game, I went back to the Facebook thing, and I learned everything I could about Facebook. I sat there and watched every video, every Zuckerberg speech, every press release, everything I could find out about Facebook. I just ensconced myself in it.
Wow.
And that's when I learned that the future was just content. It was all about content.
Right.
And when you asked me at the party, hey, man, we got this thing we put together for Mike. What do we do? My answer to you was content.
Yep.
And that's why you're here, man, because
Exactly.
this is what we're doing with the podcast is we're creating content.
Correct.
And we can share it, and we can, hopefully other people will share it. What I hope to do with this interview, which I haven't had time to do yet, is maybe we'll make some clips of this interview. That's what I'd really like to do. Maybe make some 1 minute, 2 minute clips,
Sure.
of the really clever, witty shit that we come up with.
As we drink a little bit more.
Yeah. I'll weed out the stupid drunk shit, and I'll capture some 1 minute, 2 minute, really clever, witty shit, and we'll really share those, and we'll use that as content.
Sure.
And I kind of sprung you guys with playing an acoustic thing. I kind of sprung that on John earlier.
Yeah,
that's my fault. I didn't think of it.
That was a brilliant idea. If I would have known about it maybe a day before, we could have at least tried to.
Well, you know what we'll do? We'll have you back.
Oh,
real
okay.
soon. Like, let's not we won't let time go by.
Sure.
And we'll
We'd
fire
love
up
to.
the cameras.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll do an acoustic song.
Oh, that'd be
and
great.
we'll piggyback that with what we do with the podcast.
that'd be
and
great,
stuff.
yeah.
So we'll do that sooner than later.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
not let too much
for
time
sure.
go by, and let's just fire that up.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the stuff on this album, this project, is to honor the memory of Mike Kudreiko, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that right here if they got it on camera.
It's been a little bit over a year since his passing.
Okay. And Mike was the fourth founding member of Robb Roy. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a friend of all of ours, a brother. You,
yeah.
especially close.
We're
with
very
him.
close. Yeah.
So, without tearing up too much, man, we lost him last year.
That's correct. Yeah. March 17th, I believe, right?
19th.
Or 19th. I'm sorry. Yeah. 19th.
Okay. And how did Mike pass?
Graham, you want to start that one out?
Well, they said that ultimately, I think it was heart failure,
Okay.
and it was heart failure, but it was because of just some of the bad choices he made.
Okay.
Leading up to that
Okay.
caused him to have a weak heart,
Okay.
that sort of thing. Mike had. It's very strange when we stopped playing in 2004. If you were to tell me, he's the guy in your band that used to party a lot, I guess, and it was like, well, no, he wasn't.
Right.
He really
No.
wasn't that guy. You might blame me for that or John for that, but
Right.
not Mike. He was buttoned down for the most part. He was just
was
very
business.
professional,
Yeah, very
real
business.
like.
Yeah.
I mean, we all had our days, but he wasn't that guy. And after the band had sort of split up, we all kind of started doing some other projects and things like that. He was having a rough time with it. He had a few things kind of happen back to back. The band splits up. His father passed away shortly thereafter, and that was tough for him. Some of the other stuff that he did, besides being an amazing, guitarist, songwriter, he produced records. He was a director of photography. He was a great shooter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we rehearsed at his studio a couple times.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
yeah, and he's got a whole other world where people know him as that guy. And
In the production world,
yeah,
right?
the production
she's-
world.
yeah.
yeah, and,
Video, we're talking video, post-production.
Correct, yeah.
Yep, he could edit all that stuff. He's just multi-talented, and he had a couple of just bad business dealings. He had partnered up with some people and did some horror films, and I think he invested quite a bit of money and just didn't get the return that he had hoped for, and
Okay.
it was just one thing after another.
Yep.
And he started drinking a little bit more than he should have, and then he developed real bad anxiety as well, and so he
Sounds like somebody I know.
prescription pills for anxiety, and
Myself.
it was
Yeah.
just a combination of things
Yeah.
that led to this. And I think for the most part, people could recognize it, like on Facebook. Mike was one of the first people in our group that embraced Facebook and was out there. They could tell something was up.
Yeah.
And the title, well, there you have it, is based on something he posted right up to the end.
Oh, shit.
He said, I want people to, he said, when I die, I just want to have, I think he was talking about his tombstone. I just want to have, well, there you have it on the tombstone.
Yeah, they want
Shit.
people to look back at my life and say,
Right.
well, there you have it.
Yeah.
And that
Meaning
was-
it's all self-evident. It's all.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
And a couple weeks later, he passed away.
son of a bitch. I didn't know about the Facebook post.
Oh yeah. It's almost like at that point when you saw that, it was you could tell it was getting to. I mean, you didn't want to see it, but you could kind of see it. It was getting to the tail end of his his being on Earth existence. But yeah, it was just he got the phone call first when the news came out.
Yeah. I was out of town with my family. My son plays hockey, so we were at a tournament at Notre Dame. I was on my way to there and got a call from Susan, and I just had a feeling. I didn't know it was because he was in the hospital again, because he had a few hospital stays towards the end there, but she said he had passed away, and I immediately called these two guys and started to spread the word to everybody that kind of knew him to let them know what happened. But I think it didn't shock a lot of people. He just kind of seemed to be on that trajectory.
Some of the thing too about that, he did keep to himself. Okay, so he was very private in that aspect to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though that there would be some kind of strange rantings on Facebook, you would just kind of write it off. Oh, that's
Phone
Mike
calls,
being
yeah.
weird, But he did keep that portion of his life very private, and so for some people it was a shock. For us, we knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It was I want to say a select few people, and I know that we as part of the the bandmates were slowly kind of like disengaging ourselves from him. We knew what was going on, and we just didn't want to be part of that whole thing of the car crash. We saw it coming, but we kind of got out of the way, kind of ducked. And it was unfortunate that I think at the end of his life he was surrounding himself with people that would be kind of along the line of his addiction. You know, they were kind of helping him out, enabling him. There were some people that weren't. There were some people that actually cared for him, and there's our good friend JQ, and was actually one of the last people that were part of his life that were actually going there to help him, because his wife Susan would be calling and saying, hey, can someone go over there and check on him and make sure that he's still alive or something like that. And he was one of the guys that would go to his house and clean up the mess for him. You know, it was a tough thing, you know. What could you have done? I mean, there were so many things that you could sit there and say, well, I wish you really couldn't. There was nothing you could have done. It was his choice, and it was his path that he wanted to follow through, and he's at peace now. So
yeah, it's precarious for the people around, the addict, or the ill,
right?
However you want to say it, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
There's only so much good that you can do, and it's a fucking landmine. You know what I mean? It's a loaded gun, and it's science. You know what I mean? It's best left to professionals.
Right.
And people who really know how to do that. You can't freestyle interventions, and you can't. I've seen people try.
Right.
I've seen people say, "Oh, we got this. We'll sit them down." Well, just like how they do on TV. Yeah, we just read the letters, and we got this.
Yeah.
We'll sit our buddy down. We'll sit our dad down, and we got this.
Right.
It's high science, man. It's nuclear.
Yeah.
And nobody should ever feel guilty. You know what I mean? It's
right.
You can't. There's only so much you can do, man. I'm so sorry for your guys' loss, man. I was back then, and now to hear more details, I'm even more sorry. If that's possible.
Right.
But
we hear that. You just got to let them hit rock bottom. It's like, well, I think rock bottom is death. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
Well, we learn in the program that everybody has a different bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, and they refer to that. They say, I was a low bottom addict, or I was I had a high bottom. I did this, and I got my shit together. I went into the program. It only took this for me to get on the right path.
Gotcha.
Or I was a low bottom addict, and it took all this to, and they refer to it as the depth of the bottom.
Okay.
And you're totally right. I guess the lowest one is, the end.
The end, yeah.
Well, God bless him, man. I gotta believe that he knew he was loved, right? It wasn't. I wasn't super close with Mike.
I think that's a big part of it, especially towards the end. I know from talking to Susan, she said to me a few times that I don't think he realized how much people cared for him and how much people thought he was a talented guy. He himself didn't really recognize it, even though to know him, he was super confident, super, again, buttoned down. But there was that side to him, this anxious side that he didn't feel like he was worthy, which was silly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, last time I talked to him, and again, we all tried, and you can only do what you can do.
Yeah.
He called me up, and he was upset, and said, man, he was messed up, and he said, you got to kick my ass, man. I'm a piece of shit. I need to be straightened out.
Right.
And I said, well, you got the calls too.
I know.
And I said, and this is after many phone calls like that, I said, I don't want to beat you up. I'm not going to call you names. I'm not going to do that. I said, you got a wife that loves you, a little girl that depends on you. That's got to be enough. Mm-hmm. That's why you got to straighten out. The phone was silent for, felt like 3 minutes. Didn't say a word. And it was just, all right, I'll talk to you later. I never talked to him again.
Yeah.
It sucks that that's the last.
And I had a sponsor in the program that called non-addicts normies, the normal people. The people that don't suffer from this, the people that can put it down, the people that can put it away and move on with their life. Right. And it's funny, not funny. Nothing's funny about this, but for the normie talking to the ill or the addict, and thinking, oh, let me just give you the code. Wife, kid,
right.
Everybody loves you.
Yeah.
We good? No, there's not. Yeah, and it's like there's just layers and walls and fucking, fires and traps and everything on the path to that, and it's just not your responsibility. God bless you for trying, but God.
Well, the other thing too is, and I wasn't aware of this until Susan had told me, is that, the mental illness was brought up. And I don't know, I mean, Mike just seemed quirky to me, he's
eccentric.
Eccentric would be with the word. And I never, again, just thinking about, it wasn't just the alcohol. There was other things involved behind it as well. There was, the Xanax and whatnot for the anxiety.
Yep.
And then that abuse mixed with, the cocktail of the drink.
Yes.
Hearing that, there is abuse of that would change your brain chemistry to the fact that it would make you even worse than what you are.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know how true that is. You hear these things, but did it enhance his?
Well, no good story ever ended with more Xanax.
No.
Right.
No.
You never hear the happy ending of Behind the Music isn't like, oh, and I got more Xanax and everything was
right.
Right. Yeah. So no, it certainly doesn't help.
No.
Those drugs are meant to be Band-Aids. They're meant to get you through the car crashes of life.
Right.
They're meant to be Band-Aids for trauma that you sustain mentally,
Right.
And none of them are meant to provide sustaining, effects. It's all just Band-Aids. And if you use it beyond a fucking Band-Aid, then you're just putting, the wound's still bleeding. You know what I mean? And you're just putting Band-Aid.
Right.
So you guys, and this is funny because we're talking about all this in the context of new media and social media and Facebook. I find it surreal as I was listening to Graham talk and listening to you guys talk. There's this Facebook fucking element now. So now we're in a world where we're talking about people suffering from depression, anxiety, alcoholism, addiction, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there's Facebook. What the fuck? Where are we? Now Facebook is a part of our lives.
Right.
God damn it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's the whole thing of
our favorite uncle, I guess, or something like that.
I don't know something, but it's woven in because now you're talking about somebody who we know, who we loved, who people loved, and he's typing these cryptic things,
Right. Yeah.
Not even as ugly and fucking gross and violent as the recent shit where the guy, killed somebody on Facebook. Not even to that depth or that level.
No.
But just a cryptic. It's and I've always thought that might be the best. Aside from keeping in touch with people that you don't talk to on a daily basis, the journal aspect of Facebook, I've always been an advocate of that. I thought if there's something good to find in that, the cathartic journal, I use it for that. I'll fucking vent. It's a journal. I think.
Sure.
I think that's one of the best things that Facebook has to offer, besides keeping in touch with people. But then you lose somebody that
right,
and you got to go back. So now Facebook is a part of the conversation of losing somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that weird?
It's weird, but in a sense, I mean, his profile's still up there, and it's
I saw it when I was posting.
And it's there for eternity, I guess. Until
Well, they do have protocols for passing now. They actually have. Yeah, they have deceiving.
So how do they know that? If you haven't posted something in the past 2 years, then it's time
in your profile.
Time for you to go.
There's a place for it in a operating for a living person. In your profile, there's a sort of instruction. There's a thing that you can leave it for some. You can designate a surviving user.
Right.
Okay.
Who can then have access to your Facebook profile.
Okay.
That's a thing now. That's baked into Facebook now. Is survivorship.
Okay. So they'd inherit your profile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that a wife doesn't sit there and have to go through all the kids' birthdays, and type in the password, so your mom, if you're a young person,
right.
You can leave a surviving login, a surviving user that can access it.
Oh, I thought you meant like that. If you haven't, if you've passed and you haven't had any activity within so much time, then they find out that you have passed. They just remove your profile.
If you haven't utilized the protocols that they have in place, if you haven't utilized that,
okay,
I'm sure, I don't know. It's probably legal at that point. Like you'd have to you'd have to petition Facebook and say,
it's weird because I hate this. I mean, it's morbid, but I have 3 friends that are passed on Facebook, and they're still
Wow.
there.
Yeah.
And they're still there, and you know, and it's a nice, I guess, homage or just to say, you know, oh, their birthday's up. You're like, well, you know,
yes, I see people say happy birthday to
happy
them.
birthday, you know,
Yeah.
wish you were here or something like that, which is, you know, I mean, it's part of the therapy of the healing process too. I guess you could see it as a plus than it is just a, you know,
Yeah.
why is that person up there still? It's weird.
We went through it with Kevin Motley, the guitar player from Downers Grove and
Okay.
One Man's Trash, and I think somebody had his login, his son or his ex-wife or somebody. I think even as we were doing the arrangements, the memorials and everything, I think that we were able to actually post on his actual profile to keep people updated.
Okay.
And people, like you said, people still, it comes around and Kevin Motley's birthday, and you know, it's
Yeah.
actually a beautiful thing now, you know,
Yeah.
because you see those people say happy birthday to somebody.
Exactly.
Well, we had to cover that. Sorry, guys, I didn't want to take it too dark.
No,
but I mean,
no,
This is all
that's
part
fine.
of honoring his memory. And,
Of course.
And so I was trying to segue into, you know, the Facebook thing and finding out and the phone call. So now you told me the story.
Yeah.
And Susan, his wife, right, his surviving wife,
Yes.
she says, I have these tapes.
It's the most craziest thing. I think it was shortly after Michael had passed. She invited us all over to the house where he was living, and she was getting ready to do the whole, you know, estate thing and all that. And we walked into his computer room, you know, and there was just like tubs of stuff there. And she goes, you know, grab what you guys want, and you know, she had some stuff designated for each one of us, and so, you know, for Graham, he had inherited the media tub, and I'm thinking, you know, I go, there's just crap loads of friggin' hard drives laying all around this room. I go, do you mind if I take them? Because I'm pretty sure our music's on these, you know. And she goes, no, feel free, go ahead, you know, just let me know what they're worth. If there's anything on there, you know, if there isn't anything, please give, you know, return. I go, no problem, you know, I'll just skim through all this stuff. She goes, if you find anything of us, you know, the family on there too, photos or videos, please share it with us. Like, sure. So I spent time on it was like almost 80 hard drives. I'm sitting there just plugging them in, trying to go through all this stuff, and all I could find was just like promotional stuff from the band. You know, I mean, there was some personal stuff, there was some work-related stuff, but as far as music goes, there was artwork for some of the CDs. There was, because Mike was the keeper.
About a
Mike
guy
was
who
the
had
keeper.
clients, right? He had the video production clients. Like you're talking about a guy who had volumes,
just volumes of stuff. And Mike was the keeper of everything. I mean, he was the guy that had everything. You know, him and Susan, because Susan also managed the band, by the way. So all that stuff was there, and here I am diving through all this stuff, and I'm like, crap, you know, I don't find anything. The only thing I could find is, you know, just like I said, promotional or artwork for the CD, or, you know, set lists from the tours and this, that, and the other thing, and some pictures. And he goes, well, you know, the other day, he goes, I had the CD, and he had the CDs and the which end up turning out to be DVDs. And just some of the different sources of recording media, and he goes, I try to stick this the CD into my player, and it wouldn't play anything, and it had the title of the song, and I'm thinking, I go, what was it? What did it say on there, Graham? It was like an error code or something, or not this media not recognized, or something like that.
Like it wasn't formatted.
Yeah, well,
or
like
just,
it was card, just like this isn't a music CD, or basically.
Okay.
And I go, holy crap! I go, what does it say on there? He goes, oh, it says the title of the song, and it has the BU on there. I go, back up. You've got the backups. You've got everything. And I go, bring the tub over, man, whenever you get a chance. So he did, and sure enough.
So there was the stuff that you took to go through, but then there was stuff that Graham also had taken from Susan
Well, she gave him the tub of stuff, and then she, I got like whatever was laying around, and she said, yeah, go ahead, because I'm like, our music, where is it?
Volumes.
Yeah. You don't think about that stuff, because you never think that, this guy's going to pass. He's going to have all this stuff, and we could access it any time. But anyway, so long story short, I found that he had DVD backups, which was amazing. He had 3 copies of each. And so I was able to go in and go, yeah, we've got the stuff. We've got all of our stuff. And then it was then going through all of our stuff to go, okay, not only did we have the recordings of all the CDs that we've done in the past, but, oh my God, there's these songs that I just found that I totally forgot about. And do you remember, I was popping, I'm emailing him MP3s of do you remember this one? Do you remember? And he's like, holy crap, no, I don't. I'm like, wow. So we've got these songs.
Isn't it amazing stuff that you were consumed with on a day-to-day basis at the time?
At the time, yeah.
Is just off the hard drive of, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then your own hard drive, your brain is trying to find them.
Right. You're talking again, 2004 was the last time. And so, you fast forward and you just forget, you start to, and then it's like reminiscing, and then you're going, well, these songs are pretty good, and it's like,
hey, wait a second.
What?
Hey, we were pretty good.
We were pretty good back then. Yeah, not a bad band, and that's what we were saying. It's like, we're emailing each other, going, "Do you remember this? Do you remember that?" And videos and that, and it's like, damn, what happened? We were pretty good, right? I mean, come on.
I remember that.
I'm not trying to.
We should sign this band.
Yeah. Who are these guys?
Who are these guys?
Yeah.
Wait, that's us.
Yeah, 20 years ahead of our time. Anyways, So anyways, that being said, plus we had a project back in 2014, which we called Soulcore at the time. And that was basically the three of us with a new drummer.
Okay.
And again, I would, Duane, knowing that we had gotten previously before then, we'd gotten together. Okay, so we were doing
the reunion shows.
Yeah, my head's spinning right now with all the steps and the timeline of everything.
Take your time, man.
Yeah,
take your time.
Yeah, we had been contacted. A couple good friends of ours were dealing with cancer.
Okay.
Dan Drotar.
Yeah,
Dan
God bless him,
big,
man.
Big part of the scene, photography. Used to come and support all kinds of bands from the area. Just a great guy. Everybody knows him. You talk to the Pastories, you talk to whoever. They all know who Dan is. And
he had a bucket list show. He knew he was dying.
He wanted a living memorial.
Wow.
And so he said, I'd like to see these bands before I pass, and we were one of them. And so, yeah.
It was so cool.
And this was in 2004? This was at the time?
No, this was 2012 or 20.
Oh, okay, so more recently,
2010 maybe.
2010, somewhere in there, I think.
Yeah, 2010.
And so we performed there. Well, we got together to rehearse, and one of the things that we were just, our process, we'd show up for rehearsals. We didn't really rehearse that much. Every time we got together, we were pretty much writing. Okay. And that's exactly what happened.
That's the thing about this band. That's the thing about this band
we just started jamming and coming up with riffs
new
and
shit.
New melodies and stuff.
Okay.
And so we did the show. It was all our older stuff, but we kind of looked at each other and said, "Wow." I mean, because at the time I was in a different project that I was really enjoying at the time, but it was kind of work. The getting up and performing, and it wasn't as easy as how it always was with us. We just got up and just did it, and that was how it goes.
Sure.
It was natural for us. It felt that way when we played for Dan. I mean, it's like we'd never spent any time apart.
Wow.
It's crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember coming into the country, getting with these guys to do the show. And it was like we never broke up.
Yeah. You were in China at the time, right? Doing the world traveler here.
What were you doing in China?
I went over there with a group with Puffy called this girl, Little Mickey. And I was the musical director for her group. We did like 6 weeks.
Somebody on his label, you're saying?
Yeah.
What was the artist?
Little Mickey.
Okay.
And around the Olympics. Then a music agency came to me and gave me a 5-year contract.
Really?
To stay there. Yeah, man. So these guys called and said someone is passing, and I flew back in. I don't think we rehearsed for the first one, though, did we?
I think we did.
Heads up,
one time.
John and Graham. Duane just got way fucking cooler than both of you guys.
He is, trust me.
So
he just dropped that.
We can just leave.
We're like,
Yeah.
we can leave.
We
But you could do a whole segment on a podcast on Duane.
maybe you guys should go.
But it seems because it seems like I remember getting off the plane, coming straight to the club. I remember getting picked up.
Yeah.
And we came straight to the club and we did the gig. I don't remember rehearsing. For
Really?
some strange
Maybe
reason.
it was Chris's stuff that we rehearsed.
We
for.
were, yeah, maybe, but it was one of the gigs I definitely remember getting off the plane. I was just beat.
Yeah.
And it was
Shit,
one of the
yeah.
greatest show ever. I mean,
Yeah.
And I looked at these guys and I was like, man, and I knew I had to go back. And, you know, we missed each other. We hugged and
Oh, yeah.
cried and
Yeah.
kissed and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Now,
yeah.
were you playing drums and MDing for this artist?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And
There's not a
then-
lot of drummer MDs, music directors on that. That's
Oh,
pretty
it's a
rare,
lot
man.
now, but
Is
yeah.
there? I guess
did it.
more so now, right?
Yeah,
But back
yeah.
then,
Yeah, 2008 I started, 2007.
yeah,
And I stayed, and like I said, a music company signed me up for 5 years.
yeah,
Yeah, and but my heart was always here.
sure,
You know, and I wanted to come home, but you know, it was just better there.
yeah.
And like I said, we did the show, man. It was like we never missed a beat.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just so amazing, and
Well, that's a testament to how much you guys did together. Like you
Oh,
guys
every day.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Robb Roy days. It was,
Oh.
yeah, it was
we
the real
were
deal.
again. We were like all, you know, we say business, but it was
yeah.
like you went to you came and you worked, and it was every day we got together. Our goal, you know, we wrote a song,
right.
and we have all this back catalog stuff that just never made it to the light of day. We would, I mean, the last CD before this one. We could have released a double CD if we
Yeah.
wanted to, but we whittled it down to 15 songs for one CD.
It still
You know,
wasn't
and we
happening with 15.
we had. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like 32 songs, and we had the big dry eraser board, and going, you know,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
one are we going to finish? You know, and then all this stuff have just remained, and so that's when we were just kind of throwing things around, going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay. So getting back to the
yeah.
Soul Course.
So that was my question. Was
Yeah.
so you're talking about the gig that you did for the gentleman who's passing
Correct.
away,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
has since passed away.
So
right?
some of the
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah, and are you, because you were saying your guys' process was to just start riffing once you got together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we saying that there's stuff from those rehearsals that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
And it's just funny because they called and they said, "You remember this?" I'm like, "Man, I don't remember anything about that. I'm not remembering
you guys-
nothing."
oh, you're
No,
like,
that's
is that
going to
me
be a
playing
hard
drums?
no from
I
Duane.
go, yeah, it's you
That's what I
playing
said.
drums.
I said,
Who
"Is
the
that
hell
me
else
playing
playing the
drums?"
drums? I wasn't playing the drums.
I was like, "Whoa!"
That's what we're talking about, man. It just
Yeah.
leaves.
It did. And
It
mine,
did, yeah.
Mine left
Yeah.
for real left.
We're just
I mean,
computers, dude. That's all we
Yeah.
are, right?
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
hard drive
Yeah.
can only take so much.
Right, exactly.
And you got to move it and make
Yeah,
space for the new stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I see stuff on YouTube. Literally, have watched stuff on YouTube that I cannot remember doing.
Oh,
That's bad.
It is bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. But yeah, it was. So that was some of the stuff that we had written, and then I think
Not this podcast, by the way. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's all right.
I mean old stuff. I remember recent stuff. but
Right, not the podcast. Not
I'm
yes.
talking
last-
about me
last
on
one.
stage in Florida from 2003. I've sat there and gone, nope, don't got it.
Don't. Yeah. Where was that? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, some of that was from then, and then then we had written some things with when Duane wasn't around, and again, since we're not holding back on anything,
We did with him.
we did with him some stuff.
Yeah.
There was a
Yeah.
couple of tunes that we had written with him not being around, but and that was the last time we had gotten together. And I know that and I don't
Talking
wanna
about
take the
Duane?
story- Yeah, with Duane. And
You know that Duane had a gig with Puffy, right?
yeah. Well,
So you
know,
guys
whatever.
fucked up. That was where you fucked up, right?
Exactly. Totally.
That's how we always felt.
Yeah.
What's he doing with us?
I think the most heartbreaking moment was when we'd gotten last together, and this is again, you know, Michael starting with his mental illness, and there was just something stupid was talked about, and you and Mike had gotten into that argument, and you
Yeah.
just, and you know,
Yeah, do you remember?
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember he was taking too long getting ready, and he was
and that was part of his
he
thing.
was drinking. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, but it took too long this time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give you an hour.
Pushed it. Yeah, he pushed it.
and,
Yeah.
He
and we
pushed
were
it.
trying to get back to working, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and he was. I love Michael. I mean,
Oh,
they'll tell you.
all
me and
love
Mike,
here, man.
No,
Yeah.
but me and Mike fought the most. I mean,
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah.
But we love
Yeah.
each other. I mean,
Yeah.
we've said things to each other, but at the end
Well, you
of
don't
it
bother
all-
with people you don't love, right? If
Yeah.
it wasn't love, then you wouldn't fucking
Yeah.
bother, man.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
why when he said the phone calls, I just didn't speak on it because Mike actually called me and said some things.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's another story. But
You don't have to share anything you don't
Yeah,
want to, brother.
Yeah, that's another
yeah.
thing. But yeah, something just like he doesn't want to. It's not in him.
Yeah.
But that's not for me to say. But that's how I felt.
Yeah.
So I just removed myself. I mean, I looked at these guys and said, "You guys don't see what I see." And
We didn't. At least I didn't. I was ignoring the whole thing, and he saw it. He saw it, and I remember that time, and it was just heartbreaking to see their argument, and it was just like, there he goes. He's out the door.
Hell yeah, and I swore. I told them, I said, you guys can call me anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
But you better not ever call me.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot after. I saw Michael actually over at the studio when he was with Jay, and we hugged and made up, and he's made phone calls to me because I used to play with the Temptations too, and they needed a guitar player. And I was seriously thinking about getting Mike to play, and then I think I called you, or I called Jay, maybe you and Jay, and I said,
test the waters a little bit.
I said, well, should I do it? And they said, and nothing bad, but
God bless you.
That's
God
a
bless
heavy
you, Mike.
responsibility.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Man,
and they'll tell
he was the first one you thought of, right? So that says a lot.
He was the only
right?
cat I thought of.
Sure. So,
because these my brothers, And I was like, he'll make a lot of dough. And it'd get him back in the business mode. And I felt that's what he needed.
Yeah.
Because the last time I was there, when I walked out of the studio door, he wasn't the business Mike that we all knew.
Damn.
And
Yeah, it's a shame.
like I said, you guys don't see this? And, it wasn't no one choosing sides or anything. I chose my side, because I didn't have to leave.
Right.
I just said, guys, I can't take it. And
No.
And it hurt.
You gotta though, man. You gotta draw lines. Like we said, it's not up to you. It's not.
Right.
You know what I mean? You do what you can, but you can't. The thing that they say on the airplane, that's the truth. You gotta save yourself. Put the mask on yourself first.
Right.
But he was our brother to the point any one of us would have given up our masks to any one of us.
I know.
Right.
And all three of us would have gave our 3 masks to him.
Yeah.
But he didn't want a mask.
That's the thing, man.
Yeah.
He wouldn't know what to do with it when it's that deep and that when there's that much illness, right?
And
It's like, what do I do with this?
Again, they'll tell you, I'll choke him and say, I love you, but I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And that's why I just said it's time to me to walk away. And I mean, that was one of the biggest. I gave these guys like a chunk out of my life. I mean, I was playing with other groups, artists. I mean, we
Big
don't have to go to,
artists.
but these were my guys. I mean, like, I had a rehearsal with Aretha, and he wanted to call a meeting. Remember, a Christmas meeting or something?
Right.
I'm like, I have a rehearsal.
He did or Michael did?
Mike.
Okay.
Mike, yeah.
And I'm like looking at him like, dude.
I gotta play with the. I gotta play with the Queen, man. I got time for a meeting.
It's a paid rehearsal,
Right. Yeah.
And he wanted to, I don't even know what the meeting was about, man. It was in the living room, and I'm sitting there going,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you had the meeting?
Yeah, man.
What'd you tell Aretha?
Well, I haven't played with her since, so you don't tell her.
Are you
anything.
shitting me?
This was my cats, man.
I know.
We were right there. I mean, I've been around for a minute or two
I
or
know.
three.
No, I know.
We were there. I mean, I'm not bragging. I mean,
That's what I'm talking about. I talk about those near misses, man, like I was talking about with the Chainsaw Kittens. And
Man.
I get it, man.
Let me tell you, I used to love being the opening act, because then I go back to my world where I was like the headliner.
Yeah.
But then this was my cats. And we would kill the headliners. I'm not going to name names.
Oh.
But you could go
100%,
look
man.
to DTE and every place else we've been.
Right.
And we put a hurt on them.
Right.
Because that's the only way we would have it.
Fuck yeah. And they're over by the monitor board going,
Oh, all of them were sitting on the side of us. And who was our sign guy? Neil.
Neil, yeah.
Oh, we had a great. He was out with Cheap Trick and everybody. I mean, we top to bottom, man.
that's another reason why I'm grateful for growing up in Detroit, because we learned those fucking tricks.
Right.
'Cause we did those tricks at the studio lounge.
Yeah.
It's tricks that people were doing at the arena.
Right.
We were doing that shit at the studio lounge.
Yeah.
Turning the subwoofers off at the crossover for the opening acts.
Yeah.
Fuck the sound up. Oh yeah, man.
We opened up for Nickelback one time.
Wow,
Sponge
man.
opened up for Nickelback in Muskegon at the big outdoor festival where they do
Yeah.
shows all
Yeah,
summer
yeah,
long.
yeah.
And
We played Muskegon. Yeah.
my ex-wife, my wife at the time, Arlene, was there, and for some reason everybody, the road manager, Mike Pigeon, comes in the trailer, the dressing room, and grabs Vinny and says, "We got to go." And we're all sitting there, and then one by one, everybody with their wives left the trailer, and then here's Marlene sitting there like, well, I guess maybe we should go see what's going on too, right? All of a sudden, we go out the trailer over to the Nickelback tour bus, and here's all of Sponge surrounding Chad Kroger. I'm not shitting you. Chad Kroger's back is to the fucking tour bus like this, and here's Sponge. And we are not little people in Sponge.
Right.
These are all big Polish dudes. Like, even Vinny's a fucking twig, but he's tall, right? And our road manager's as big as I am. And I just walk over, and they had a tour manager, and I don't care because this is the God's honest truth. I'll tell the story in the light of day. It doesn't matter. They had a tour manager at the time that tried to take our guarantee because our guitar players had walked up on the stage left and stage right guitar risers for Nickelback. Yeah.
What?
They weren't roped off. They didn't remove the ramp. They were there. They could have been a part of the venue for all we know.
I'm going to do it.
They could have been the venue's risers for all we know.
True, right, right.
And we aren't showboaters. You know everybody. You know what I mean? We're Sponge. We're from Detroit. We're just doing our thing. We don't give a fuck about a riser. You know what I mean? That's the last thing we're thinking about. The guitar players just walked up and did their thing, you know? Because they were there.
Yeah.
This motherfucker tried to take money from the guarantee. At settlement. When they were in there at settlement.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh, you don't mess with Vinny with that, man.
No,
you don't do that with Vinny, man.
No. And so I walk out, and here's Chad Kroger with his back up against the tour bus. And long story short, that shit got worked out. Yeah, the accounting, all the accounting worked out. You know, so that's the depths of that opening act thing. Like, that's the dark side of it. You're talking about,
man,
because you're killing, and then you see these guys looking.
Oh, they were all on every gig. I mean, remember we did we played Harpo's once. What was that group? The Bullet Boys.
The Bullet Boys. Yeah, they're
they were
coming back to the Token. Our brother John Anton, little shout out. The Bullet Boys are coming to the Token, man. Oh,
really?
He's killing it at the Token, man.
Go say Robb Roy did it, they'll run out the door.
Yeah.
And they didn't even want to give us a sound check. So we pulled one of our hardest songs. I mean, it was like, because we were pop rock, edgy hard, but they like, so we pulled one of our hardest songs for the sound check. The whole place was just silent. And they just looked and said, well, okay, you guys are pretty good.
Yeah, right.
And the Bullet Boys were sitting there looking at us like, okay, now you guys only got 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah, then the rope starts to tighten, right?
But it was like that. Like I said, these are my boys, man. And Mike, that was my brother. I mean, even though we fought like, brothers. Mm-hmm. And that's why I did the things I did. So, it touches me. I mean, I don't talk about it a lot. But I'm a little mad at Mike. But, that's between me and Mike.
I was mad. I wasn't nearly as close as you were, and I was mad because I I've seen it. I was pissed, because there's, God damn it, you know what I mean? It's just this left turn, just a left turn, just go this way a little bit, and those those little things that you could do. I mean, I don't blame him, but God damn, I was angry when I heard.
Yeah, but to know Mike, he didn't do anything little. That's what I love about him, but then that's what you mad about him too. Mm-hmm. Everything he did was big.
Yeah.
I mean, he was he was big.
Wow, that's good.
And one of the greatest guitar players, seriously, that I have ever played with. Ever.
Hands down.
People were like, how was he? I first joined the band, and I'm sitting there, and okay, you're in. Okay, cool. That's like, okay, we're gonna start doing the the stuff for the CD, and we're going to do the promotions, and we're going to start doing. Now we're going to start writing songs. I'm like, oh, okay, well. Writing songs. Okay, let's do that. So we'd start, and I'm sitting there just. I couldn't concentrate because I was watching this guy play guitar, and it was like the first time. It's like sitting next to Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen just playing, or just like this amazing guitar player, and you're like trying to. Oh shit, and I'm just watching this guy play, and I'm just mesmerized. I'm like, I can't believe this guy, Right. I mean, but that's how it was with not only him, but everyone else here in this group, because everybody gave a shit, and everybody like played their instrument or whatever to the ninth, man. Yeah,
my memory of Mike, this would be my testimony or my tribute to Mike in the times that I played with him. You mentioned you talk about those guys from the other planet, like Hendrix or or Stevie Ray Vaughan or something like that. Yeah. Those guys from another planet. To me, for Mike, it was like he wasn't even trying. So it wasn't this sort of, prophetic sort of, it was just he was so good, and he wasn't even thinking about being good. That's my tribute to Mike. That's my memory of him. Is he wasn't even trying.
Right.
It was just natural. It was like I would say like a Keith Richards Ronnie Wood.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
those were his heroes too.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned that it was Hendrix.
100%.
Wood,
100%.
you
That's
know.
why he and I connected, because I
Keith.
was on that same page with him.
Yeah.
Not Frampton, but the singer in
Humble Pie?
Humble Pie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That also played. He was a fucking great guitar player.
Steve Marriott?
Steve
Steve
Marriott.
Marriott.
That's Mike right there. Is that species?
Those were all of his heroes right
Yeah.
there. You know, I mean, those were the guys. It was, I mean, also Mick Ronson. I mean, you know, from
100%.
Bose- yeah,
100%.
huge Mick Ronson.
That's the legacy of Mike right there. is that-
Exactly.
That fucking brilliance without even trying.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
fucking guitar down here. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, this. Oh, no big deal.
I got this
yeah.
one. Yeah. So,
So man, I took you way off.
so yeah, I know we've been
So all
going.
of a sudden you, but that's good, man. We're talking about Mike and
Yeah.
his memory. But so
So-
you found everything. We put the
Yeah.
pieces together. Graham had the
Correct.
stuff that we needed, right?
Right.
And you're like, hey, I need the backup drives.
yeah.
Was it all on hard drives? Was it all?
No, this is the weirdest thing. So we've got the 5 songs, right? And these were like the most current songs that we had just recorded, and that's how everything kind of started. Okay, we got to finish these songs. So you know, what do we do? Well, you know, we had just started before Duane came back, and we called this the Robb Roy, you know, project, or the Robb Roy record. We had gone to Chuck Alkazian, and we were cutting. We were said, oh, you know, we're going to do this. I know Chuck's got a great drum sound. We're going to go in and cut the drums there. And
When
then-
was this? When was
this was 2012, 2014. I think this is when we were doing the Soulcore thing.
Okay, so there's a moment where you're with Chuck over at Pearl.
Exactly.
Chuck Alkazian,
So-
another brother. God bless you, Chuck.
Yes. Oh yeah. God. So we went to Chuck and we said, okay, you know, we got a small budget. We want to really just get these songs out there. And so he goes, just come on over, do the drums here, and then you guys can go ahead and take the tracks back to your place, and then go ahead and cut your other stuff, the guitars, vocals, and then you can bring it back here, and then we'll mix it. And so we those songs were already documented, and they were already in Chuck's possession, right? So we had 5 songs at that point.
Okay.
And so we said, okay, then you know, after Michael's passing, we find all this stuff. Graham's like, you know, we're going to release a Robb Roy record, and I said, okay, let's do it. And so I
Cool.
said, well, what do we do? I go, well, we got these 5 tunes, and I said, okay, Duane's in, yeah, he's in. All right, cool. Let's bring back Duane and go back into the studio and recut the drums.
Band back together.
Yeah, we're putting the band back together, exactly. So we had the 5 songs, and we had those completed, right? And then so after that point, Chuck's like, well, you know, it wouldn't hurt if you threw some more songs on there. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, we're just going to do an EP. And I was like, well, you know, it doesn't cost much more to throw on some more songs. He goes, do you have any more songs? And I said, just as a matter of fact, we do. And that's when we had gone back to the archive stuff. And
Okay.
And so, you
So
know,
at that time you had touched on the archives at that time.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's when I said, well, yeah. As a matter of fact, we probably got another record or so to release. So we went through those and chose the other 5, I believe, or 6, right?
There were 6 that are like newer.
The
Cure,
6 newer.
Cure came a little later, even though it was new.
That was another
'Cause it was a
journey.
mess.
That
We
was a
had to-
mess. It was a mess. So
Yeah.
the Cure, which kicks off the record, brilliant. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs. But unfortunately, we had recorded that one at Michael's studio, and there was no click. There was no,
Oh, okay.
And so all we had was his tracks, and we're like, how do we save the song? And so that was a magic moment in the studio with
Genius.
Chuck.
'Cause I didn't play that. I didn't play it at Mike's studio, right?
No,
No,
you didn't.
yeah.
That was Bob Brenner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what happened? So people that are listening, just so you know, when there's something called a click and a grid in modern recording,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's
So
talk about- yeah.
we record stuff to a click where the computer is providing the metronome.
Exactly.
Dun, 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 and that gives us an absolute grid
Right.
to perform our instruments by.
Correct.
Right? And absent of that,
Yeah.
you're
Right.
you're
Yeah.
really freestyling. You're really doing the
freestyling,
Stones. You're
which
really
is-
doing Steve
which
Marriott
is
at
a
that point.
nightmare for any producer, any engineer
Right.
to choose. Okay, so you got to play to Michael's drums, or Michael's guitar, right?
Right.
So
You
Duane
have-
comes
so-
in. You pointed to him when this. Is that what happened?
Oh yeah.
Get out of here.
So we did a session, and I was there.
All right.
I witnessed the whole thing, and believe it or not, Chuck's telling me, "No, find another song, man. This is going to be a nightmare. Just find another song." I'm like, "No, man. This is the song. This is the song. You got to
Dwayne's like,
save
"Hold my
this
beer."
one." Yeah, exactly. That's what. And so he's like going, "All right, bring him in." So he lined everything up as best as he could, and he goes, "Okay, we're just going to wing it," and he just rolled, and next thing you know, it was like, how it didn't take you long. He's like, "I got this," like I got this, man. I got no big deal.
Man, there's very few people that I've seen on this earth do that, man. One of them is Bobby Myers.
Yeah.
And now hearing about you doing that.
Yeah, and we're talking.
There's black belt shit, man.
No
that's high
click.
level.
Like, do you want to hear any? I don't want to hear nothing. I just want it. Just let me hear his guitar, and I got it.
Which track is that?
That's the Cure, the one that kicks off the record.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the very first one.
Tracks like that.
Yeah, there were a few tracks like that. When you're pulling up old stuff, you just kind of lose the whole thing in a transition of going from and one of the songs on there, Never Changed. That was actually an ADAT transfer. So you're talking, going from ADAT to into Pro Tools, and if anyone knows, the whole process, that was a nightmare because of the fact that at Chuck's he didn't have the digital interface to sync from the ADAT to Pro Tools.
Yeah, what did you guys do about that?
We sat the old-fashioned way. We had RCAs coming out of the back of the thing and plugging it into the computer, and then just doing like 4 tracks at a time, and then syncing them by eyesight and ear.
Okay.
And that was.
I told him he could come over here and we could do it by ADAT, by light pump. Just so you know, I told him he could come here.
Yeah,
and do that.
you did. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure, Tim.
I did.
Yeah,
when we first started talking about it.
So it never changed. That was probably the oldest archived song that we had found, and that song we had to bring that one out. It was such a beautiful song. Graham wrote that for his first daughter.
It was for we were never happy with the finished song originally. We were contacted because of Stuart Frankie was dealing with his leukemia at the time. So they had come to us and said, "Can you supply a song for this record we're doing?" And we were messing with that song at the time. We said, "Well, we've got a newer one. Instead of taking one of our songs that had already been out on a record, we wanted to supply him with something that was kind of fresh." And so we rushed that song. It had a different title. It was called Hillary's Song at the time.
Right.
It was one that we would play live. It was, fan favorite.
Yeah.
People loved it.
Yeah.
But we never had a recorded version. So we thought, well, this is the perfect time to do it. And so it was cool that we got to revisit it. Again,
Wow.
I was never happy with my vocal. I was never happy with the overall production of it.
So
We just
cool.
rushed it through.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
That you could go and take care of unfinished business.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me?
Right.
You mean to tell me that there's no? Oh, I see, John. You did some guitars, but for the most part, this is all fucking Mike's guitars.
Yeah.
That's beautiful,
Yeah,
dude.
it is.
Beautiful.
It is.
It was amazing what Chuck did.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
that guy is hats off to that guy. I
Yeah.
mean, that guy. I don't know how the hell he did what he did, but he pulled it off. And,
Chuck's
and,
no
and-
joke, man.
No, he's
No.
not.
Chuck Alcasian's been around the block,
No.
man. Shout out to Chuck.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Chuck is
Another good podcast guest we should have on.
Yeah,
Make a
you
note
should.
of that, man.
You could do 12 podcasts.
I was
going to
say it's going to take a couple
Yeah,
of days.
yeah. If you could get him to stop talking.
He would call me and say, "Okay, what do you want? What do you want?" I said, "Just give me a guitar. I'll see you tomorrow." Okay. And I come in there, him and I, and he gave me this guitar and he said, "Let's just go." So yeah, I love Chuck too. I mean, Chuck is the man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He's the
Chuck.
goods. He's the
he
goods.
is. God bless him, man. I mean, and that's the thing with Chuck. We're talking about paths crossing, and
Right.
and I've known Chuck for. I mean, God, back in the day, a
A lot of people don't know Chuck is an accomplished drummer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He'll play the fuck out of some
He can
drums,
play the
man.
piano.
piano.
I mean,
Play the piano,
yeah.
yes.
Piano, drums,
Any good producer
anything.
should be able to. Yeah,
Yeah,
any good producer
yeah.
worth their salt can make their
Yeah.
way around some.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so we go back in the '90s where our bands used to play down at remember the Waterfront Air District, or before our good mayor down there decided
Yeah.
to shut it all down and
Yeah,
build
what
a
was
casino, and
what
never
was the
happened.
club? The club
There
with
was-
the 2 rooms.
There was a Rivertown.
Woodbridge.
There was
Woodbridge.
Woodbridge.
Yeah. Woodbridge.
There was what was a soup kitchen down there?
Woodbridge had the sweet little
the
garden
Blues?
that you go
Yeah,
out
yeah,
and
the little court-
And BC
Yeah.
Brewery, you had all those clubs down there that people were going down to back in the days, you know.
Yeah, what a great idea that was. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then oh no, we're gonna put the casinos there, and that never happened. So, anyways, but we go back from that far, and then he just decided to okay, you know, I'm gonna start doing, you know, I want to get into producing and I want to get into recording, and I'm like, you know, oh, that's great, man, you know. So we'd kind of get together on and off, you know, and I'd share some songs that I'd written, and then finally, you know, fast forward, I joined the band, and then he was out in Streeterville Studios in Chicago at the time. And he's like, bring me your stuff, man. And so I'm like, yeah, you know, we got these killer tunes, and I want to hear them. I want to hear 'em. Maybe I can mix them. You know? So I drive out to Chicago for the weekend, and we sit around and just play around. And then
so you go far pretty back with.
we go back.
with
Well, yeah,
Chuck.
years.
Okay, cool.
But we never had the opportunity to work with them, like as in like we're going to work with Chuck, you know.
Yeah.
And that was the decision. It's like, hey, man. We always talked about it, and we just never did it, and so this time we have to do it. We have to work with them. I mean, we wanted something that sounded, you know, modern, and how much, you know, modern can you get with this guy who's got the ear, you know, to what's going on, you know, and so he's like, you know, he just took the record to the next level. He really did. Yeah. I mean, some of the songs that we had thought were just, you know, oh, these are just perfect. You know, all you got to do is just kind of fit them in. You know, maybe tweak. He's like, no, man, I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers. You know.
Yeah.
And then you get it back, and you just go, holy shit, man.
Sounds very good. We were listening before you guys showed up.
Yeah.
It sounds fantastic, and it's no surprise. I mean, Chuck, like we said, Chuck's been there and back. So.
Oh yeah,
you guys, you
God
picked the right
bless
guy,
him, man. And it was a joy to work with him. It really was. I mean, I just like our friendship, you know, even though we've, you know, taken breaks in between here and there and throughout life, and it's just life. But, you know, it's just like we never stopped talking.
Never missed a beat.
Yeah, never missed a beat.
You know, he told me that story, like when you went to Chicago. It was,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Happy and What If, I think he was.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Was it What If?
It was What If, yeah.
And so he's, you know, we're working on this record, and he goes, you know, I tried to work with you guys back in the day, you know, and he goes, and I know you guys had your guy. I mean, Jay Kewen was always the kind of go-to guy that we had for a lot of
Jay
the records.
Kewen,
Yeah.
Mr. Harmony Park engineer.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. If you hadn't said that name, what a great guy.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause we worked-
amazing guy,
That's
man.
who we worked with all that the radio station
Jay-
stuff.
Jay
Jay-
did the Edge sessions. I actually
Jay
helped
did the Edge sessions.
plug
Jay
wires
engineered.
in for him for a couple sessions.
100%.
Jay-
Wow.
Jay engineered-
What's that guy doing?
He's got his own place now in
Blend Studios?
Yeah, in
Ferndale.
Blend Studios in Ferndale. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And-
Please tell that guy I said hi.
There's
Oh,
another
yeah.
2 podcasts you could have with that guy.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
Yeah, he's
That's awesome.
What's the band? The
Corktown Popes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
who he's with these days. So.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a cool guy. That dude's a saint, man. That guy put up
Yeah.
with a lot of bullshit back then. man.
He was at the tail end with Michael. That's when the story I told about Jay walking in.
Oh,
He
really?
was at the very
He was the
tail.
one.
He was the
Oh.
one that.
Blood. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's the guy that
That's
you're talking
the guy.
about?
That's
Yeah.
the guy.
yeah.
Man, I just got goosebumps, man.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking
I know.
Bless his heart, man.
But Jay always he'd always been in. He was a member of Robb Roy back in the day. He was the
fifth guy.
He was the fifth
Yeah.
guy.
Sure.
But he stayed with us, and so he was every record that we had except for Happy. He was. I mean, he may have been involved a little bit in Happy,
Yeah.
but he was on every recording. Actually, he produced the not the latest, but the one before, Days of Pride and Hunger. He was the producer engineer on that one. Brother, man, just I mean he.
Yeah.
Great guy. So I forgot where we were talking.
It was Chuck. I mean,
so, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Chuck says to me, he goes, yeah, you know, so when John came out, I'm mixing that record for you. He said, at the time I was engineering for, he goes, have you ever heard of a guy named Steve Lillywhite? I laughed. I go, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So he goes, I'm playing your song, you know.
That's like saying, have you ever heard of this Irish band?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah,
something.
you something.
You,
Yeah.
So I said, yeah. He goes, so, you know, I'm in the middle of doing your thing. He said, who is this? He said, tells him who the band is. He said, you got to get these guys in here. And
Shut
you
up.
know, right?
Lillywhite says this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lillywhite says this, right?
Holy shit. What year was this?
This was 2001, I believe. It
Yeah.
was.
Okay,
when he was
what
in
happened with
Streeterville.
that meeting?
No, that was 2000. He never. Well.
Well, there's not enough time.
Dwayne's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Not
know.
enough time.
Yeah. There's not enough time.
That's another.
You know the stories of. Yeah. I mean, we know bands that have done that before. You know, you're
Hey, man,
you're at
we
the
started
door. You're at the
teed
door.
up
Come
for
on,
you.
you got
We
your foot in
started
the
the
door.
podcast out with the topic of near misses, man.
Exactly.
You know,
Their foot's in the door, and then what happened? You know,
That would be a great documentary.
Yeah.
They're all over the country. Bands that were
near misses.
that should have
exactly.
been massive. Yeah.
But anyways,
Toby Red. I mean, that was a band
Toby
we
Red.
used to open up for a lot.
Sure.
Chad Smith.
Right.
yeah.
I don't know.
That
I don't
band
count
was
Toby
close.
Red because Chad went to fucking Pluto.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying? so
Well,
I don't
yeah.
count.
Right.
Like Toby Red, you got. Chad made it. Sorry. You know, I
Yeah,
don't call that a
exactly.
near miss. I was like,
Okay.
Chad made it. You know. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But Robb Roy, near miss.
Yeah.
What was that other group we saw when we were in California? It was at that real small club, and they were in like a little van. You
Oh
remember?
yeah, that's freaking
Another-
Jack White was in that band.
Right, another
The
hit
Go.
list.
Was it the Go?
The Go.
The Go.
Yeah, when he was playing
Okay.
guitar, we
Okay.
so we're playing the whiskey, and then Susan's like, oh yeah, you know the Go's in town, you know our brothers, so let's go see them. And they're playing some really shit club.
Oh,
I
my
can't remember
God.
where the hell it was. So we're getting up there, and you know there's the van, there's you know obviously the beat up van, and they're driven in. We flew in.
Yeah. And they're in
So
this,
we're here like, you know, the rock star look, you know, we're all looking good, and these guys look like they'd just been beat up on the road. And
Yeah.
Okay, wait a second. I got to clarify something because you just said Susan again, and this is resonating.
Susan Lee, yeah.
Susan Lee. Because you
Su-
remember
with Susan
Suzanne
Lee Kudreiko.
Silver, right? That's the chaos that I was talking about.
Right. Right.
To circle back. Do you remember that? She ran Alvin's. Just to
No,
clarify, Suzanne's.
That's weird. I was at Carhartt yesterday and trying to explain to my son
Okay.
that Alvin's used to be on his property here.
Right.
Yeah.
The Carhartt's at, but
Okay, so this is not the same Susan.
No, not
Mike's-
the same.
I never met Mike's wife.
It's our manager.
Okay, got
It's
it.
our manager
Right.
at the time. So yeah, we went to go see them, and they were on the road, and it was just it was funny. Yeah, that's
That's another band, I think, you know.
yeah.
the Go. Well, Jack White.
Again,
Well,
went to
hello.
Pluto. Doesn't count. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, guys.
So look, one of us have to go.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you did, man. You were like hanging out with all the. Come
know,
on, you're getting
but
the deals
still.
and everything. We're just
Yeah.
going. Well, if we did some more R&B, maybe we would have made it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I told
I
you.
should have just done whatever he said. Sorry.
We should have.
Anyway, but don't kick yourself.
That's what you always thought, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
should've
I was
got
trying to
Aunt
tell
Philip
you.
to produce us. I told you.
Right. Right.
What'd you say? You just dropped something right there.
There's a friend of mine. I wanted to produce us, Amp Fiddler,
Okay.
and that's a guy you should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he wanted to produce like a track on us,
Okay.
and he's like with George Clooney, he's with everybody. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And he wanted to. He loved us,
Right.
but you know, it's,
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not about kicking ourselves. These are
No,
just
no,
stories,
no,
man.
I'm-
We're just,
hey,
No.
we're just telling
I'm
stories.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, true. It is.
Yeah.
It you know, it's life. It's life, man.
Yeah. My big fuck up was we played at
One of
one of my
One of-
fuck ups. Yeah. Thank you, John. See, I'd love you enough for you to
One
say
of-
that. Yeah. One of them. We played at the Majestic, the theater. Right.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
below
Magic Stick, the Majestic, and then
the
there's
Majestic, yeah. And the dude that was producing Sponge at the time,
Paddling.
no. This is before that.
It was before Paddle.
It was Steve King's studio.
Steve.
Oh, yeah,
Steve King.
yeah.
And who was the manager guy? Martin.
yeah.
You know who I'm
Martin?
talking? Huh? Joel Martin.
Yeah,
Yes,
Joel Martin.
yeah.
Right. Oh
He
my
was
God.
fucking there,
Got
right?
stories. Wow, that's
Then
So he's got stories.
Joel Martin. Then he comes to see Downers Grove when we play at the Royal Oak Music Theater.
Okay.
Right? And he taps me on the shoulder, buys me a beer, and says, "Hey, what's this Downers Grove thing all about?
Yeah.
Where you at?" And we had a manager. Our manager was Eric Shakes Grzybowski, who became Kid Rock's right hand man. You know?
Okay.
And all the connections, the phone calls happened back before there were these monsters. Right? It
Right.
was real phone calls, man. We fucked up working with Steve King and Joel Martin because we wanted to do 8 songs. That's how stupid we were. They just wanted to do a song, feel it out,
Right.
see how you
Right,
kids
right,
work in the studio,
Right.
right? All the shit that we know is now how
So
you
were
do
just
it,
like,
right?
no, we're gonna do 8, and then
No, I want 8 songs, and we're not gonna do it. Yeah. And that was the story of Downers Grove. We were the
Wow.
cats that we were the babies that demanded 8 songs out of Joel Martin and Steve King.
Wow.
big balls there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was.
Yeah.
Who's gonna tell Tim Krakowski what? I mean,
Who
yeah.
are you to
Who are
tell
you-
me?
Right. Who are you to tell me? Do you have any idea who
you know
I think
who I
I
am?
am?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know who I am? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, you ended up with a beautiful result here, man. That's fascinating to know that you guys played to Mike, man. Like whether there was a click or not, whether there was a grid.
Yeah.
You guys fell in there.
Exactly,
And Duane did the impossible and brought it home. And,
Oh man, yeah. We
So-
both actually we tracked because we always track together. So it's like we tracked together like the old days and just listened to Mike through our headsets, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. It just didn't. It felt like, hey, he's here. He's sitting over there somewhere. In one of the booths.
Yeah. So the move now is so God bless Mike and
Yes.
and this is to hopefully benefit his family, right? Like we're hoping to do a little bit for his family with this, right?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, because we've always been, and the way that we've always done it, we've always split everything, as a quarter. So whatever we can do to help, his family right now, is as best we can do, for sure.
Yeah. Well, this is certainly worthy of anybody's listen. I've listened to what you sent me, and we all know that you guys are amazing players. This is no joke.
Thank you.
This was there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of passion in this, and it sounds fantastic. Chuck did his thing, Chuck Alkazian. It's beautifully packaged, and it sounds awesome.
Thank you.
And it's worthy of anybody's listen, and it's worthy of anybody's hard-earned money. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So I put a link. Just did a little research before you guys came over to the studio. On the YouTube, on the YouTube video for our interview, there's a link to the iTunes. I figured I'd put the most obvious thing. I know it's on Spotify, right?
Yep.
Correct.
It's on Spotify.
Yeah.
And you guys went through CD Baby, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
And they
again,
kind of take care of a lot of stuff.
They
right?
do. That was our first experience, because Graham and I were never involved in the after we were in the recording portion of it, and maybe some of the the artwork and stuff like that. But then after that, we just kind of like, here you go, we're done, and don't worry, we'll take care of the rest of it. We'll get it out to market. And so, thinking that, well, how do we do this? And that was probably the easiest way that we could think of is.
Like our conversation. Hey, Tim, how do I fucking promote this thing in
exactly.
2017? CD Baby kind of has some of those answers,
They just
right?
do it all, yeah.
They do everything.
Yeah,
they
that's
take
super
a
valuable.
cut. They take a small cut, but it's worth it.
For what they do. Yeah,
For what they
to
do.
aggregate to all these. I mean, what a mess to get on Amazon, to get on fucking iTunes.
Exactly.
And CD Baby kind of does that turnkey, and they aggregate
Exactly.
to all those places.
Everything. It's like a one-stop shop when you go there. It's amazing.
So on the YouTube video, when people go to the Timkast, youtube.com/Timkast,
Yes.
and you'll see our interview here, I put in the comments section, I put a link to the iTunes link.
Oh, thank you.
And I also put a link to a review of the album.
Thank
that
you.
I found.
Yeah. That was from who was the?
It was real recent. A blog.
Eric Harabadian.
Yes.
He's from the area.
Yeah.
He wrote it, and it's posted on Jeff Wilbur's site. Jeff's out of Boston.
Yes.
Jeff was a writer for years, and he's fighting the good fight, trying to get
Okay.
get the stuff out there for people.
Well, then, if
to
he's
find and
fighting the
stuff.
good fight, then what you should do is get a hold of him and have him link back to this interview on YouTube.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
he can,
Yep.
if he can keep the conversation going, that would help out a lot in terms of raising money for Mike's family. And
Yeah, for sure,
and spreading the word about the CD.
Yeah, we're again getting accommodated to being young again and trying to get
Connecting the dots,
share,
man.
share this and share that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we want to keep this a community too, going with with this and with the review and with our stuff as well. Just keep spreading the word, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's how we support each other. We really do this in this aspect.
Yes, and I'm dead serious. I'm not just saying that because the mics are on, but if as soon as possible, I'm talking this week, if you guys can circle back here, I don't care if you grab a shaker or some congas or something. I'm serious. Like
we got this.
Yeah,
There's a drum set
I think
over
that
there
we should
somewhere, I
really
think,
come
so.
back and do a song or two.
Okay.
And let's attach it to this because I kind of
Sure.
sprang it on you guys late, but
No.
come back.
That's fine.
And let's do that so we can really blow this thing up and spread the word out
Thank you.
about it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. I love you, John.
Love you, man.
Yeah,
I love you too,
guys.
man.
Love
Yeah.
you too. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for going
Yeah.
deep for us.
Thank
You know what I
you,
mean?
man.
And the honesty
For having us.
and telling Mike's story. And this all kind of sort of begs one question, right?
Yeah.
What? and getting the band back together.
Well, I mean,
We're getting the band back together.
do we do a
have
show
those
here?
Do we do
Yeah.
a show? We were talking about that. I think baby steps right now. Even though I think the next step that Graham and I talked about was a listening party. Maybe somewhere.
Love it.
Somewhere local, but not just a listening, but more of like a what was it? More like a life.
A
life
reception,
celebration.
a reception,
A life celebration.
awake or
Awake.
Awake for
Amen.
Michael
with this
playing. Yeah. So we haven't decided what venue yet, but I think we're going to try somewhere where it could be kind of like the middle point for our west and east siders. And
Well, let's put him on the spot. Who are we thinking about? Where are we talking?
I don't know. I mean,
What do you think?
Royal Oak is probably the thing that pops in my head right now. Would you consider that central somewhat?
Ish. Yeah. In terms of east to west, it's
Either Ferndale or Royal Oak.
Yeah. That's something to think about. We should do something cool, man. Like, God, what would be good? Something in Royal Oak doesn't have to be super big, right? Like,
No.
No.
There's so
But
many
then,
people that were disappointed that nothing was done for him.
okay,
I mean, when he passed, a couple days went by and that was it.
yeah.
There's a ton of people that want to.
Well, let me know about that as you guys marinate on
We
that.
will, yeah, we will.
'Cause I'll
we
blast
just
it
want to
out
find the
and-
perfect place and somewhere centrally located where people can from all over can come out and
think outside the box too, man. Like, think it doesn't have to be the typical music venue. Think
Right.
about
No.
some kind of loungy, restauranty,
Something like that would work.
Something nice, man. That's a good thing about the new paradigm is we don't have to play the old rules, man.
No, we
You
don't.
know?
That's right. That's
Even this
right.
place that you play at on Thursdays, that's a classy place, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things
There's a
like
few
that.
places I have in Royal Oak.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, so we would think something along the lines of that, where we'll pick a day and then just play the hell out of the CD, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that we haven't seen in decades that would just love to see again,
Yeah.
just to come out and say hello again,
Yeah, man. I think
Yeah.
people really like that stuff.
Sure.
To know that there's a gathering happening from our, because we're all we're so humble, our generation. It's like, hey, let's get together, man.
Right.
Why not? Right?
Exactly.
And like you said, people were sort of missing out on something for a central wake for Mike.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for
Tim.
being on the
Thank you,
Timcast.
man.
Thank you.
I really
This was-
appreciate
this
it.
was great, yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to the Timcast.
Yeah, I saw that. Susan text
Yeah.
Dwayne.
Yeah?
Friggin' Coglin's blowing up my phone as we're sitting there. I'm like, what the hell are you expecting me to do? Like, friggin' answer your call on the air or something? Did he